Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our next chapter on GRE 719 building performance, and this class will focus on the simulation part, and the software that we're going to use is the IESVE 2018. So today's topic that we'll talk about is the module on MacroFlo. So what is this module about? MacroFlo is actually a module that provides facilities for preparing the input data for the MacroFlo bulk airflow simulation program. So what this software function as is to study the airflow, and it's more of a macro, not a micro, and it's the air movement from the outside into the inside of the building. And MacroFlo falls under the VE thermal category, which means that it studies on the thermal simulation, and also it uses analysis of infiltration and natural ventilation in a building. Sorry about that. And it uses a zonal airflow model, so you have different zones, and it models the building, using the building as a model to run the simulation, and it calculates bulk air movement in and through the building. So this is good for understanding the natural ventilation of an air movement in and out of the building, and it must be it focuses on the wind and also the buoyancy of induced pressures. And Apache Macro module is also used with the Apache simulation, but we're not going to cover that yet. We're going to go into this MacroFlo module. So how do we activate this MacroFlo module? First, we have to go into to open the IESVE. So let me see with my IES software. There you go. Okay. So we're gonna, if you have the VE 2018 version, you're gonna have this interface, and since that we already done the we assume that you already done the model, so I'm going to use this icon on open project. Okay, let's see. I have this software which this file which has been created by one of my students. Okay, so when you open it, and you have to have the model. For your information, for this this module or this topic, you have to make sure that the model you have, you include the window with it. So if you can see at my this building, I've already my student already created several windows, and as we discussed before, for the study using MacroFlo, you need to have an opening for the building. Okay, so open IESVE, click new open new project or open project. So if you zoom in, you can see these options. Okay, and you can scroll down. So where do we find this MacroFlo module? Right, let me just go back to my IES. Oh, where is it? Okay, this one. Okay, so you can find the module here. The access to the module, you have to go to the application and scroll down, and you will see a MacroFlo module there. So click on it. Okay, and make sure that this tab has changed into MacroFlo, and you see these different icons, right? So if you can see, the icon is not yet activated, meaning that you cannot click, so it doesn't work except for certain icon. So to activate this, you have to click the model. So when you highlight the model, you can see now it changed the color. Right? I'm going hold on. Okay, so let's go back to this page. So once you have activated the module, it's under the application. What you need to do next is to identify all this icon. So I'm going to discuss this icon. So the first icon is the save file icon, which you can use it to save the work that you have done. And this arrow here is the main icon that I'm going to use a lot, and this is where you need to highlight it first to select the model. So this is going to be used very often. The next module, or the next icon is sorry, not module, this is icon, is to edit any openings. Okay, we go into in detail after this. Is icon here where you can see like a sinus graph is the Apache profile database. So this one is used to understand or give the computer or the software to understand how what the time for every item included in a simulation. For example, icon usage, window opening, lighting usage, what time it is you open, what time is it closed, and also the time where the space is occupied, to see when the computer is switched on and when the computer is switched off, or people what time does people go to work or start using this place, and in 1 year when the place is not going to be used on holidays. Okay, this icon here, you can see a box with a question mark is to query any object. So the function is to find out details of any object in the model. So next icon is like a house, and you can see an arrow, which means this is the MacroFlo Opening Database Manager. So in this opening icon is used to understand how the opening works and what type of opening is included in the design. And this icon next to it is the same icon, except that you have a table at the back, and this is used to tabular the data that you input in this icon using the MacroFlo Opening Database Manager. And the last one is a view data in a model view. So once you've done the simulation, if you want to make an easier view to understand what's going on, so you can use this. So it's going to help you to view it in a model manner, in a 3D manner. Okay, now let's go into the icon that we've discussed in the previous part. So the first part, as I said before, is the icon to save your project. And make sure you save it often so that you don't miss anything in case something happens to the model, this work. The next icon is used to select any object. So I'm going to use this a lot. Okay, so I'm not going. This is not highlighted, so I have to click on the surface. Right, and the green icon here is for editing selection of set of opening types. So right now, normally when you create a new file, you're going to see only one. So when you add in, how do you add in opening? Is that you have to change it here in the opening type. So it's going to open another window. So you can see here, you see a list of openings that's available. So I'm going to remove this one. Okay, so when I remove this, yes, save. Okay, so you're going to see only one. So this is the default opening type when you open a new file. Okay, so I'm going to add new opening. So what I have to do first is that to add it using this icon here. All right, okay, give it a name. Since that this is an external window, I'm going to use casement type window. So casement type window is a window where the hinge is on the side. Okay, and this reference ID you cannot change it. is already used to by the system to identify this object or the window. Okay, so your only description that you can change is this part here. Okay, so the exposure type is the amount of air pressure or wind pressure on the surface of the window. So if you want to know a detailed information about this, if you click this, you can see a lot of choices. It's a full list, and you have a lot of lists. You can see that exposure type is a exposed wall, it's an exposed roof, less than 10 degrees, you have a semi-exposed wall, and so on and so on. So if you want to understand what these different choices that you have means, you can click the icon on the right. Okay, let's click this one. Okay, so normally I would choose a semi-exposed wall, because sometimes in front of a wall you can see there's a few bushes and trees, so it's not really exposed, unless if you are really a big area in front of the building. So it's going to be a really exposed wall. Okay, so let's say I choose the semi-exposed wall, and the details here is it says that wind pressure coefficient at a different attack angle. So at 0 degrees it's going to be like 0.4, 0.3 for 22.5 degrees, and so on and so on. Okay, so I'll just leave it there. I'm going to choose a semi-exposed wall. All right. Okay, and the next part that you need to choose is the custom, the opening category. So what type of opening is this? So since that I'm going to use this casement type window. So this is a window, and it is a side hung. Yes, it's not a door, but it's a window. All right, this part here, the openable area, is the amount or percentage of area in comparison to the frame. So normally you cannot really 100% open the window, because some part of the window structure is made of the frame. Okay, and also you have the hinges and so on. So normally we put in 95% or 90%. So I'm going to put in 90% openable area, and this is used to help the computer or the software to understand what is the maximum angle for opening the window. Because sometimes windows in hotels, you cannot really open it at 90 degrees. Or there are some windows that you can open more than 90 degrees, but let's just assume that you can open a window, because normally a lot of windows in Malaysia you can open at least around 80 to 90 degrees. I'm going to put in 80 there. Okay, so the proportion is the height, the length divided by height. So you're going to have a number. So if it's less than 0.5, you choose this. But normally Windows in Malaysia is going to be the second part, because casement window, the width is normally around 600, and that's 600 millimeters, sorry, and the height is going to be like 1000 millimeters to 1200 millimeters. So the height is bigger than the length. The length is the width, and you're gonna get more than 0.5, and it's less than 1. So I'm gonna choose this. Okay, and the other part you just leave it as it is. If you have more information, you can choose. You can put it in, or key in, or input the data. And this crack flow is the seep in wind through the crack of the window. But I just leave it there as it is. Okay, because you're not going to give yourself a headache, because it's already been calculated. Okay, so the last part here is the degree of opening, the modulating profile. So what this thing does is that it helps the software to have a lot of information on when the window is going to be open. Okay, you have all this information, how much is going to be open, and at 90% of the window is openable. It's going to maximize the opening at 80 degrees opening. And this part it refers to the time when the window is going to be open. So right now you only have it's off continuously, or you can make it on continuously, and you can change it, let's say seasonal system occupied hours. So what this graph means is that at 0 is the time. Okay, let's say this in the morning, so it's in the 24 hours time format, and at to 0 is going to be 12 in the morning. We assume that no, it's not going to be used. So starting from 8 a.m. People come into the space and they start to open the window. That's why you have this one as a it's going to be like 100% opening, so at 80 degrees. Yeah, okay, and this is a absolute modulating value, sorry. Okay, so if you choose then the garage fan flow, what this means is that at in the morning at 12 a.m. It's not occupied. So starting from 8 a.m. this window is open 100% at 80 degrees. Yep. And at 10 a.m. it's closed half of it. So it's going to 50% be opening, meaning that it's open at maybe at 40 degrees opening. So it's half the amount of air allowed to go inside the building. And at 4 is going to be open again, and by 6 the window is going to be closed. Okay, let me just use let's say use this occupied hours. Okay, actually you can create your own timing and your own profile. We're gonna see that later in a bit. And this is the pattern of the opening. Okay, let's just leave that. I'm gonna go in that in detail, and then you save it. Okay, and click OK. And now you can see in the list, the one which is highlighted is the external window opening for this model. So what you need to do next is you have to replace this. So you have to click on the window that we've just created and just click replace. Okay, so if you want to know which window is activated or applied to the model, normally when you click on the opening type, the one which is highlighted in red is the one is applied on the model. So at this surface here, we use casement type window. Let's see the other surface. Oops. Click here and then opening. So this one uses external window. So if you want to change it, you have to click on the list and then click replace. So now you can see that casement type window is applied there. So this two uses the casement type window. Okay, and then we close it. All right. Okay, so that one is on the edit selection, set opening types. So the next icon that we are going to learn about is this Apache Profile Database Manager. So if you're familiar with this type of icon, we've actually seen it already before. Let me just recap this. Click on this icon. Remember that when you click on the opening types, you see this? So it's a different icon. So if I click this one, okay, let me just click this. So you're gonna pop up this window known as the Pro Profile Database Library Project Profiles. Okay, let me just close this. Okay, can we cancel and close? And I click this one, and I'm gonna see the same thing. Okay, now what does Pro Profile Database Library does? Okay, let me just explain this. Okay, this one. All right. Now, the App Pro can be applied based on daily, weekly, and annual profile. So you put in how anything or something operates in a daily manner, a weekly manner, or an annual manner. Okay, so when you open this, you click on the icon, this pop-up window will be shown on the screen, and you have two types of choices that you can choose. One is the list of tabs on top, starting from File, Edit, View, Windows, and Help. So if you go to Edit, you're going to see that you have two options there. You have the Find a Daily Profile or Profile a Substitution Table. Okay, let's see what happens. Here it stated that Find a Daily Profile is a list of created IESV system for both ABS, or meaning absolute, and also mod or modulating profile. I'm going to go in detail what does that mean. Okay, let me just change this to VE's software. All right. Okay, so let me just click Edit, Find a Daily Profile. Okay, so when you click this, you have a choice, which is from the system itself or the project. So let's the system has a complete list of the different type of options that you can choose from, and if you can see at the left part is the mod and also the absolute. So the difference between the mod and absolute is that absolute value is straight, so it's a kind of a computer 1010 approach. But if you choose a modulating or MOD, you can see it's a bit different there. So absolute is straight, okay, so it doesn't change a lot. When you look at modulating, you can see a change in different timing, and the value is also not constant at different times. Okay, so if you click on a project, you can see a lot of different values that you can choose, and this one is in a default when you start any new files. Okay, let me just close this. Okay, normally what people would do is they create their own profile. So I'm going to do that now. The first thing that you need to do is to click New and make sure the pattern is a daily. So you have a choice of either you want to create a daily profile, or is it a weekly profile, annual profile, and so on and so on. So normally for our at our level, you're going to choose these three options here from daily. So you know what time the office starts, maybe let's say from 8 a.m. and what time it is the lunch break, and what time it's going to they're going to come back after lunch, and then when the office ends, normally at 5. But there are times when you have a different occupancy. Let's say people start to work at 8, and then those who start at work at 8, they're going to go home by 5, or those who starts at 7:30 going to go home by 4:30, and so on. So they have different occupancy of details. And also in a daily profile, you have a different working hours for Fridays, especially in Malaysia, because in Fridays normally the office will be half occupied during the Friday prayers, and also those who are working on Saturdays, normally after 2 the office is going to be closed. Okay, so that will be in the weekly profiles. And in the weekly profiles, in states where it's for example in Sabah, not Sabah, in Kelantan, and also in Johor Bahru, or in Johor, because their working day is not the same. The public holiday normally will be on Friday, so you have a different work schedule for these different states. Okay, let me just start with the new. I'm gonna stop babbling about that. Okay, now we're going to edit the project daily. So let us put in the daily profile for this. hold on. Let's say I'm gonna put in a window opening. Alright, so this is going to fall under the category for cooling. Yep. Equipment, no. Occupancy, yes. Is it involves heating, ventilating, and air conditioning? Maybe so, yeah. Alright. Okay, now, so by default, if you can see here, you only have 2 choices, but actually you can add more, right? You can add in, let's say, the hours, okay, and in the choice of time that you're going to start work, so it starts from 0 to 24 hours. Is in a 24 hours format. Let's put in 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's put in 8, 0, 8. Oh, double click on it. Let's change this. Put in 8. Okay, and the value 1. Okay, so you can see now it turns into kind of a sloping graph, but I'm not gonna have that because we don't open the window, you know, at 0 hours. Slowly gonna open the window until it's maximized at 80 degrees by 8, because normally people don't do that. So just choose in absolute, and you need to copy this because you know that at 0 hours is 0, no opening at all. Alright, put in 0 there. Okay, and you edit this one and put in 8, and this is going to be 1. Okay, so you have 2. Delete this. I'm not sure why I have this 0. Okay, alright. Okay, let's say I already have this, but I'm going to edit in a graphical way. So I'm going to use edit profile graphically. So I'm going to delete this one. So change this option to delete points, and we're going to delete this. Oops. Why it's not deleting, I'm not sure. Okay. Alright. So insert points at 8. Okay. Oops. Did I just do something? Reset. Okay. Move points. I'm going to move this to. Oh, if I don't think I can use that. Delete. Delete this. And delete this. Alright. Okay. Let me just insert new points at 8 AM. Alright. And from 0. Oh, nothing. Reset. Move points. Oh, okay. We just cancel that. Alright, let me just change this to delete this. Move this. Okay. Remove. Alright. Okay, let's do this again. 0. Alright. At 0. At 8. Still 0. Okay. And now at the same time, at 8, let's put in 1. Okay, now that's better. Okay. So if you add more, you can put in plus. Okay, and let's say from 8 until 6. Let's put in 16 over there. Not 6, 18. Okay, serial 1, and here change into 18. So let's put in 0. Okay, now you have an absolute profile for window opening, which means that at no, this is not absolute, this is modulating. Okay, and then click OK. All right, so you have the list that you can choose. Okay, and all right, so this that one is the daily profile. So you can use this to profile how people switch on the air conditioning on a daily manner, or you can specify what time they start to occupy, and you switch on the air conditioning, switch on the lighting, switch on the fan, and so on and so on. But you have to also know that you can also amend or create a weekly profile. So if you open these options, you can see a list of days and when you are working, or you can set something on a cooling room for room. So this one focuses on room, but normally we can use this week category, week profile. Let's see, say Malaysian weekly working day. All right. Okay. Since that we started on a window, so we're going to focus the same thing. So this is cooling, and also occupancy. All right. Okay. So on Monday, yes, we use the window opening. All right. Double click on it, so everything is going to change. So if you want to change at least one, because there's nothing going to happen on Saturday, so you have to untick this same profile for each day, change this. Okay. So on Saturday it's off, on Sunday also off, window opening on holiday also off. Okay, so heating, let's push the one off, system off, cooling, opening, yes, for system, yep. And also let's use window opening for cooling in rooms, and then you just save it. Okay, that one focuses on the weekly pattern. So, and also you can choose the annual profile for the window opening. So what happens is that in the annual profile you can change what time the end month and when the day ends, at what number. And in this profile, you can also key in when you have a holiday. So let's put in add. Okay, choose this and just choose which date. Absolute. Okay, well, right now just leave as it is. Okay, that's all on the App Pro profile. So if you have any questions, you can just send me an email, or you can just send me a text message so that I can come back to you as soon as I can. Okay, just now I said I'm going to explain on what's the difference between the modulating and also the absolute profile. So here it is. So modulating profiles are used to modulate inputs such as gains, ventilation rates, and window opening, and to schedule plant. they take the form of time series of values in the range of 0 to 1. Whereas the absolute profiles are used to specify the time variation of the variables such as set points and supply temperatures. They take the form of time series of a physical variable, most commonly a temperature. So you can see here, so this is the time and also the value. Okay, right, so you go back to this. Okay, you already covered on the App Pro, so that's all for Apache Profile Database Manager. Alright, so where actually that you're going to use App Pro? Well, App Pro is one of the most commonly used link for information regarding the time series, and it is used for calculating the amount of energy depending on time, and normally or commonly used in Apache for calculating thermal calculation and carry out the simulation. And under this falls is the Apache calculation, Apache calc, Apache sim, the simulation for thermal study or thermal analysis, and also Apache HVAC. And if you see here, when you click on the Apache sim, you're gonna be bring to this window, and there you have a choice of to click, to edit on the App Pro here, so that you can see this icon again. And also in the MacroFlo or the wind study or the movement of air, it is also used to analyze when the window are open, and is one of the most important input for the simulation. And lastly, it is also used for building template manager. And under this building template manager, the pop-up you are used to see this window, right? And this in the building template manager, you can click on this the icon. All right. Okay. Okay, we have already covered this one. Okay. Let me just go back to the software. Okay, welcome back. Now you're going to go into the next icon, which is the Query Database Manager. So what this icon actually does is it tells you information about the object. For example, now I'm not clicking on any object. First you have to select the object, right, and then you click this, and I'm going to tell you the area of this object, what is the orientation in terms of a north-south value, and it is now facing at 180 degrees, meaning it's facing 180 south. Okay, and it's tilting at 90 degrees, so it's not tilting, it's just vertically placed. Okay, all right, and let me see if I can change this and see if anything does any change. So you can see that it is different now. So the area is 60 meters square. Orientation is now from 180 is now 90 degrees, and the tilt it's still the same because it's a wall. All right, so let's go to the next icon. The next icon is a MacroFlo Opening Database Manager. So what is this thing? It's the same thing that we seen before. It's the opening type. So already covered this. So let's move on to the next one. So this one is the table. So what's the difference between the previous one and this one? The significant different thing is this table provides all the information in a tabularized manner. So you can compare the different windows, and you can also edit here. Let's say if I'm not satisfied with this information, I can just change this, click in, and then change this input data. Okay, and also you can also add in if you want. Okay, let's just say a new one. Change this to top hung, right? Okay, it's a semi-exposed, and opening is not side hung, it's just a top hung. Openable area, let's say top hung is also the same as casement. Maximum angle opening just 45 degrees. Okay, portion is the same, so it's 1 to 1 to 2. Okay, and just leave everything out. Okay, degree of opening, and now I am going to use Malaysian weekly working days. Same thing here. All right, so apply. So now you have 3 options, and but I have to remind you that now, although you have these options, only the 2 part here is applied on the model. So if you want to apply on the model, you have just to click manually on the model, like say this one. Okay, so now I'm individually selecting the windows. If you want to select this whole row, so you have to go at this level here. So you can see that this surface is already highlighted, so I'm going to change this, go back to this green icon. Okay, and now if you can see, it's external window opening highlighted. If you choose this, then it's not highlighted, so it's not activated, meaning that this is not the window which is applied on the surface. Okay, so I'm going to choose this, change this to top hung, and now this window at the back is all top hung window. All right, so you have this casement window here, casement window here. This is the external window, which is the default windows by IES, and this is our new top hung window. All right. Okay, so let's go into the fun part. So I'm going to apply this. All right. And currently, you can view in a in a visualized manner. So I'm going to click on this. So let's choose in openable area. If we have a different type of opening type, apply, and see if the computer or the software can provide a different yeah, it can. So if you can see now, if you want to look into a very kind of graphical approach way, as you can see, this green is the casement type window. Okay, the blue one is the top hung, and the red one is the external window opening, which is the default window provided by IES. Okay, all right, so that's on the modeling. Okay, but this is actually any analysis, sorry, no analysis yet. So if you want to go into analysis, go into the next step. Okay, we already look into this input data visualization option. Okay, we already chose the opening type. You can also choose the maximum angle opening, and let me just say I'm going to apply this. So the window opening will tell you the type of angle opening. So you can see you have different colors. So this is orange, so it's around 73 to 80 degrees. So in front here is blue, only 45 degrees, and the other one is white, meaning that you cannot open it at all because the default one. Okay, so what do I do with this information? Yeah, you can, you have a big building, you can identify which of the windows are not open, or you can identify what type of windows applied on different facade or different rooms. Okay, now you already have this. I'm going to do a little bit of analysis or simulation, but as I discussed in the previous class, you need before you do any simulation, you have to go to Suncast and do the calculation again. So click on the solar shading for Apache, leave it as it is, start. Okay, and let it run the calculation. Okay, alright, you don't need to view the results yet because I'm going to show you on how to analyze an opening. Okay, now go to Apache and then click on the Apache Sim Dynamic Simulation. Right, make sure this one is clicked. This one is ticked. The enable Suncast link and also MacroFlo link. Right, and click on the simulate. Okay, let's say just let it be at alright, overwrite the file. Okay, hold on. This the speed of the calculation will depend on the size of the building and also the capability of your PC or laptop or computer. Okay, and then click on view result. Okay, and alright, since that we are focusing on the MacroFlo, so look at this option on MacroFlo arrows. Okay, so I'm going to click on the MacroFlo arrows. As you can see now, the pressure is 0. Okay, there's no air movement at all. I'm not sure why. Let me just click on this one. Oops, I've not chosen any options. Do I need to choose any options? Volume, flow link, opening. Okay. Alright. And oops. Let me just click that again. And nothing. So what you see here, the other part is actually the wind rows. So it depends on the orientation. Now you can see that from the north, there's a lot of wind coming in from the outside. But I think there's the highest speed that you can have from Malaysia is around 3 to 6 meter per second, and it comes from the north. We also have some from the south, but normally the most wind that we can, this building can accept or have is from the northwest and also from the north. Okay, maybe I need to change on the opening of the window. Alright, or did I do something to the App Pro? Nope. Anything? So let me just see this as MacroFlo. There's so many information here, too many information. Okay, if you want to change anything, what would I would suggest is go back to the MacroFlo, right? And remember this window. So let's click on the tabulated manner. Openable area, Malaysian weekly. What is this actually? Let's say on continuously. Oops, top hung on continuously and apply. Alright, and let's go back to the Apache and run the simulation again. Alright, make sure it is ticked. Oh yeah, and I forgot. Please make sure that you have the correct climate zone. Since that we are Malaysia, so I'm going to choose the nearest to where I live now is in Setiawan. Okay, and then run simulate, and I'm going to ask you if you want to override it. Yes. Okay, make sure you save it. If you click no there, if something wrong, then you cannot get the the simulation data again. Alright, now let's see what happens to the information if we've changed the window opening time. Now you can see if it is open, because this actually is is based on a yearly manner. So the default window, there's no air movement. Okay, 0. But this is at the back, so this is a top hung. You can see that there's a lot of air coming out instead of going in. But this one, you can see there's air going in comparison to coming out. So if you design a room, then you need to have a bigger opening here if you want to have more natural ventilation coming in, because of this the air movement around the building. You can see that the air pressure comes out a lot in comparison to one coming in. The blue color, arrow is actually the air coming in, so you have less air coming in instead of going out. Okay, and you can also change this. Oops, is there anything happening? No. Okay, I'm not sure if I can change this. Let's say volume flow in, volume flow out. Oops. Nope, nothing. Okay, but you can always choose the graph option here, and now you can see the details. Okay, so this one is liter per second on a this is a daily kind of graph. So the highest will be here, or you can click on a snapshot if you want. Okay, library, volume flow in and volume flow out. Yeah, so window 1, it's 25 liter per second. This is only one window. Okay, close this. If you click this, go back to the graph, nothing. Here you have information, here you have information, also here, and nothing here, because this is the default window where you have no opening at all. It's just a window. Okay. Alright, so that's all for analysis on the MacroFlo. So thank you. I'm gonna meet again into the next chapter. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.